Hello, two heads up here. Welcome to another Slayer guide, and this time it's Waterfiends. And so, when I got this Waterfiends task, I was like, what the fuck Waterfiends? It's like you almost forget that they're in '07. So, before we talk about what gear to use and everything, let's talk about what Waterfiends actually drop. So, pretty much all they drop are, you can get a level 3 clue scroll, and some random alchable stuff like water orbs, pieces of mithril armor. Really, no, there's no expensive drop that they drop. So, loot-wise, they're not worth killing. They've got the same amount of health as they do their combat levels, so they've got a lot of health, so that's good. They use magic and range attacks. So, let's start off with the setup I'm using. Now, the setup I'm using is a little unrealistic because, not every player in the game has a Dragonfire shield. And you're wondering, geesh, where's the whip or the scimitar in my inventory? Well, it turns out that Waterfiends have very high melee defense. And their only part of their melee defense where they're weak is Crush. So I've got my Dragon Battle Axe on Crush. And I've got a good combination of magic defense, 106 magic defense, 2 range defense. So, if you don't have a Dragonfire shield, if you do have one, I highly recommend you use it because you need it pretty much for, getting past the fierce green dragons to begin with, and you need it for the range defense. If you don't have a Dragonfire shield, let's see. What I ended up resorting to was, where's my Brassard? There it is. I ended up, if you don't have that, you pretty much can't tank their attacks. So the only thing, both their attacks, if you don't have a Dragonfire shield. So what I ended up going with was Praying Magic and bringing full Verax for the range defense. And so you can see, even with this setup, my range defense is much lower than it would be with the Carol's Top and the Dragonfire shield. So you do get hit with range still quite frequently with this setup, but it's better than going with a Carol's Top and the Brassard, because range defense is even lower. So let's get started. This is, in short, I'm going to do this, I'm going to show you guys how to do this task, but it is not a good task to do because Waterfiends don't drop anything. When Summoning came out, yeah, one of the most frequent droppers of Crimson Charms, but now they're not really, they're not worth doing at the moment. Do I have any updates in terms of anything? I forgot to mention, since this is a Slayer guide, this is relevant, I forgot to mention in my last PVM discussion about Nightmare Zone and God Wars Dungeon that one of the rewards from Nightmare Zone would be the ability to imbue your Black Mask so that it also gives a 15% range and magic attack bonus. Which is pretty good. And it's a good idea from Jagex. It makes it so that Slayer is still a tough thing to do because the Slayer Helm, I know a lot of you didn't play before Slayer Helm came out, but it really made Slayer a very easy thing. And, it's a great helm, but it's a little overpowered. But it's not something that would make me quit the game. It's just a little unnecessary. So, Waterfiend spot is down here, and these are not AFKable. They do hit a lot. But yeah, even it's Crush is as accurate as it gets, but it's slow, and they still got high defense. So this is pretty much the best it gets. The Anchor will be a little bit more accurate. But you're going to take a lot more damage using an Anchor. That's just how it is. So once again, I don't recommend doing Waterfiends. They're just, I mean, look at that. They hit so hard. They hit often. You never hit them. And look, I mean, look at the gear that I'm wearing. I'm pretty much maxed out gear-wise, and they're just ripping me apart. So definitely one of the harder tasks in RuneScape. If you're one of those guys that don't skip tasks, you know, you're in for a tough one this time. Because these guys are a pain. I mean, I haven't been here 1 minute, and I've already eaten 3 pieces of food. And you can't use magic prayer and range prayer at the same time. So you got to tank some kind of attack. And then you've got these warlord fuckers over here. So, but yeah, it's an imbued Slayer mask, so that'll be cool if that is voted to come out. Ooh, rummage skeleton. Let's see if I can. Uh-oh. Came to life. What level is it? Skeleton heavy. Huh. What is that one? Skeleton warlord. But aside from that, if you do bring an anchor, please remember to bring an anti-fire potion or an anti-dragon shield so you don't get one hit as soon as you go down the steps. They are weak to range in terms of defense, so you can range these, but there's like no point in spending the money on range when these guys don't drop anything. So once again, not a task I recommend doing. It's kind of like getting a Curask task. It's literally these guys don't drop anything, and they're a pain to kill. So, alright guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.